49ers, giving them a spark with the injury to Frank Gore. Darren Sproles back deep for the Chargers, who won the coin toss. He's averaging 24.7 yards a return. Jeff Reed, the former Pittsburgh Steelers, signed on December the 3rd with the injury to Joe Nedney. 6 touchbacks on the season. So much at stake for these teams. They need wins and they need help. And it starts tonight on NFL Network's Thursday Night Football. Sproles from the 3, out to the 25 and tackled at the 26-yard line. As we take a look at Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers on offense. The offensive line anchored by their center Nick Hartwick in his 7th year out of Purdue, 3-time Pro Bowler Chris Steelman, and Marcus McNeil, a Pro Bowler from a year ago. The rookie Ryan Matthews starts at tailback. Legadou Nene starts for the injured Malcolm Floyd. Vincent Jackson is back, and Randy McMichael in for the 7-time Pro Bowler Antonio Gates. Number 2 ranked offense in the National Football League, the San Diego Chargers, 7-6 on the season. Rivers gives for Matthews, gets a hole left, takes it out to the 31-yard line as he gets tackled after a gain of 5 as we check in on the sideline with Alex Flanagan.
Hey, Bob, well, the 49ers, both inside linebackers, Patrick Willis and Takeo Spikes, are wearing large casts on their right hands. Both players broke their hand on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. Patrick Willis had surgery on Monday, inserting a pin into his hand, and the 49ers, oh, take them however they can get them. They're going to need them tonight, Bob, in this game.
Both guys, key components to this defense of Greg Minuski, the defensive coordinator of the 49ers. Rivers on a 2nd and 5. Checks it down, has McMichael for a first down, and Paris Halson finally knocks him down after a gain of 9. Let's take a look at the San Francisco 49ers defense. They line up in a 3-4. Justin Smith, Pro Bowler last year, 5.5 sacks on the season. Manny Lawson, one of the linebackers. It's Spikes and Willis running things in the middle. And then when you take a look at their secondary experience, with Shante Spencer in his 7th year and Nate Clements in his 10th. Reggie Smith and Deshaun Goldson, the safeties. Matthews out to the 42-yard line, and he gets turned back. And you know, guys, it's interesting when we saw the catch made by Randy McMichael. He's a guy that's had starting experience in the National Football League, and when we talked with Phillip Rivers yesterday with Gates down, Phillip said, hey, listen, you sure you know what you're doing? And McMichael said, hey, I've been a starter my whole career. I'm ready to roll. Let's go. Gates on the season, 50 catches and 10 touchdowns, out with a foot injury. From the 42 on a 2nd and 8. Rivers, deep ball for Jackson, and he makes the catch! And Jackson will score!
All that was a jump ball. Phillip Rivers did not get this out as quickly as he wants it. You see him going up top here against Clements. It's up in the air. Now it's just his 6'5" height. It's a question of muscle, making a play on the ball, and Phillip Rivers knows this. He knows if you just throw it up, Vincent Jackson can go get it for you.
Vincent Jackson, who had the holdout and suspension, then the injury to the calf, gets his first touchdown of the season on his 3rd catch of the year. Just out-battled Nate Clements, 58 yards, and the Chargers strike first. Back in San Diego, well, Vincent Jackson, 6'5". Nate Clements is 6 foot. And Joe, you mentioned at the top, Vincent Jackson's a difference maker. It's been an odd season for him, and he makes a difference right away against Mike Singletary's Niners.
Well, it's just, you know, I mean, he's got 3 catches on the season. Those weeks he sat out certainly lets you know how important he is this ball club.
Special teams has been a dagger in the side of the Chargers this year. Teddy Ginn, excellent return man for San Francisco, out to the 25-yard line, and he gets tackled on the play.
Bobby, I want to show you guys, this is why they always stress bigger, faster, stronger. Watch 6'5" working against 6 foot. And it's just the height advantage and the size. And it's not just how tall he is, it's his length. Watch the length of the arms go out over the top, just reel that bad boy in. So his physical difference makes the difference on a big play.
And Vincent told us yesterday, hey, we've got a basketball team with the size of our receivers. They're all big in San Diego.
The biggest receivers in captivity.
So now the pressure on Alex Smith and the 49ers in a must game for them. Brian Westbrook, the tailback. Smith being chased by Burnett, dragged down at the 22-yard line. It's a loss of 2. So we set the offense for the San Francisco 49ers, ranked 23rd. They start 2 rookie tackles, Anthony Davis on the right side and Mike Iupati on the left side. 2 first-round draft picks. Brian Westbrook, 199 yards rushing, and the key component to their offense, Vernon Davis, 49 catches and 6 touchdowns. After a loss of 3, 2nd and 12. Brian Westbrook with his first carry. Westbrook out to the 30-yard line before he's tackled by Eric Weddle. It's a gain of 7. San Diego has the #1 ranked defense. Antonio Garay has played outstanding at the nose guard position. Strength of this team, Sean Phillips, Stephen Cooper, Kevin Burnett at the linebackers with Antoine Applewhite. Jammer and Case in the corners. Weddle in the secondary. The safety will make all the calls for the San Diego defense, getting everybody lined up. He's the quarterback, the Phillip Rivers of that defense. Third and 5 from the 30. Smith with time. Crabtree, a first down. Out to the 39-yard line, gain of 9. Michael Crabtree, the 10th overall pick last year with his 43rd catch. And guys, a good settling opening drive for Alex Smith in a hostile environment.
Well, especially after the first play. The first play he gets flushed. All of a sudden you're in 2nd down and 12. They get the big run out of Brian Westbrook. And boy, has he stepped in and done a great job in the absence of Frank Gore with that hip.
Anthony Dixon, the rookie 6th-round draft pick out of Mississippi State, picks up 8 on the play.
Here's one of the things with the San Francisco 49er offense. It's their belief that they match up well against this defense. Now, a lot of people will be sitting out there saying, hey, hold on a second. This is the 2nd-ranked defense in the National Football League. The 49ers are young. The 49ers believe that they can be physical with their offensive line and take advantage of this 34 scheme.
Dixon, a yard, and that's it. Antonio Garay.
Boy, I like this guy a lot, Bob and Joe. This is Antonio Garay, and what a story. But Antonio Garay is playing as well as any nose tackle in the National Football League. Consider this. You can see Garay right in the middle. Consider this. To play the 34 scheme, there are 3 things you must have. First and foremost is a nose tackle. Then you have to have a good, strong inside linebacker on the strong side, and you have to have somebody who can handle the tight end. Garay handles the nose as well as anybody out there.
And Sean Phillips can handle the tight ends on the outside.
And guys, some confusion with the 49ers facing this 3rd and short, so they'll call a timeout. Vincent Jackson with a 58-yard touchdown. Chargers in front. Mike Singletary took over for the fired Mike Nolan in 2008, 18-20 as head coach of the Niners. Many picked this team to win this division easily. They're 5-8 right now, trailing St. Louis and Seattle by 1 game in the standings. It's been a disappointing year for the Niners. He fired his offensive coordinator, Jimmy Ray, early in the season. He's got Mike Johnson calling the plays. He's gone from Alex Smith to Troy Smith, back to Alex Smith. 3rd and 2 for San Francisco. Errant pass for Delaney Walker. Incomplete.
Well, I just don't like the call.
I'm with you.
I don't like the call. First of all, if you're going to throw that little bubble screen, you've got to get it out there in a hurry. And Delaney's got to lose a little bit of ground, so he catches it in front of him, so he's going upfield. Now everybody's saying, oh, Alex Smith, not a good pass. You've got guys coming off the line, hands in the air. Not a good decision. Pound it in there. You've been running the ball pretty well. Pound it in there.
So after one first down, the Niners will have to punt. Andy Lee, the Pro Bowler last year, averaging 46.3 yards a punt. Antoine Cason from his own 8, and he gets tackled right in his tracks by C.J. Spillman after a 45-yard punt. Well, San Diego got off to a fast start. Rivers to Jackson. Phillip Rivers has fired one touchdown pass already tonight, 58 yards to Vincent Jackson. San Diego 7-6. How could a team be ranked first in defense and second in offense and be 7-6? Well, you have bad special teams. They'll start first and 10 from their own 9. Colbert picks up 4 on the play.
But Bob, the most important part of that, doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. And now is the time of the season that everybody has to be playing their best and has to be coming to their best performance of the season. Doesn't matter if you're in the National Football League or if you're Morovia High School Wildcats who just won their sectionals here, or the Allentown Central Catholic Vikings going for a state championship tomorrow. Now is the time to play good football.
2nd and 6. Tolbert picks up a couple as Matt thinks up a few more high schools to promote there. Take a look at the timeline for the Chargers. 2-5 record, all 5 losses by 8 points or less. 5-1 since. They have the Bengals and Broncos on the road still. They're going to need some help for the Kansas City loss. But this is a team that has been known to have some frantic finishes. 2 years ago we were here. They were 4-8. They had to win out, and they did 8-8 and won the division. Darren Sproles in to the right of Rivers on this 3rd and 3. Blitz from San Francisco. Sproles, first down to the 20. Deshaun Goldson on the tackle.
Bob, you talked about their 5-1 record in the last 6 games. The one game they lost a couple weeks ago to the Oakland Raiders. The one thing the Oakland Raiders did was come out and punch them right in the mouth. They played a very physical game, and the Chargers are looking at that game and saying, you know, that was something that was very good for us. We got knocked back on our heels. We know that we have to play physical against everybody. You can't let somebody dictate to us.
From the 20, Tolbert gets a little cutback lane, and Tolbert cut down by Nate Clements after a gain of 5 for the San Diego Chargers. And you know, so much has been talked about San Diego and the start that they got off to, and guys, you know, running the football is also a nice component for them.
You have to. And Tolbert, he's a low runner. He played, we were talking to Norv Turner down on the field, Matt and I, before the game, and he said probably the best thing for Tolbert, who's playing halfback now, was having the opportunity to play fullback. Learn how to play low. Learn how to run low. Learn how to run hard.
He reminds me of Natrone Means from a few years ago. Powerful runner.
Former San Diego Charger. Rivers for Hester, and Willis will drop him back at the 16. It's a loss of 9. So with the club and all, Patrick Willis gets a tackle for a loss.
Well, this is just a good job of Patrick Willis. See the coverage? He has him. He knows it right there. He's in man coverage, and so you have, that's called jumping your coverage. See how he started to sneak over? Now you have to get back underneath from inside out, club and all. Big play.
Terrific call by Greg Minuski, their defensive coordinator.
When Willis was injured last week, Coach Minuski was just talking about, hey, we got to do this. I think I broke my hand. And Minuski said, I don't care. Just get back out there and play.
Exactly.
3rd and 13 for Rivers. Gets hit, and the pass incomplete. Justin Smith got a hit on the quarterback.
Justin Smith is a beast. And Justin Smith, you're going to watch him coming right off this side right here, number 94. He is a pure power rusher. And a lot of, people talk about great cardiovascular conditioning. This guy is amazing to me because he bull rushes, which is running right into the guy. He does it all game long. He literally wears offensive linemen out.
4 block punts this year against San Diego, and Cyphers gets that one away, and a good kick to Ginn. Flag on the play as Ginn keeps his feet, being chased by Tolbert, who didn't have a helmet. And then Seiler throws him out of bounds.
Oh, Mike Tolbert lost his helmet, kept on going. Look, he comes up with a smile. He got drilled in the middle of that play. Did not care. Just went after the ball. He was going to make the tackle.
During the return, illegal block in the back against the return team. Number 35. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Clete Blakeman, the referee. So San Diego gets the punt away, and look at Mike Tolbert. Halfback, fullback, helmetless tackler. Back in San Diego, the Chargers in front of the Niners 7-0. Second offensive possession coming up for San Francisco. Picked up 1 first down on their first possession. Failed on a 3rd and 2. They'll start from the 24 with Westbrook at tailback. Smith taking a shot. Delaney Walker dropped it.
Perfect throw.
Antoine Applewhite on the coverage.
Terrific call, too. It's a terrific call. You had Antoine Applewhite trying to stay with Delaney Walker. Can't. Excellent throw. I mean, it's right there. It does not get tipped. He takes his eye off it, and the ball falls to the ground. Alex Smith is stepping up in a big way, making some tough throws, doing some good things.
Need help, though. Having receivers in the right place at the right time, and then guys catching it. 2nd and 10. Smith again in the air, intended for Morgan, and the pass incomplete. Quentin Jammer on the coverage. Well, Matt, you want to make the playoffs, you better have a good attitude, and San Diego's got it right here.
Watch Navarro Bowman on Mike Tolbert. And he takes his helmet off, okay? And the ball is away. This is 60 yards later. Tolbert going down to make the play. Phillip Adams, 35, lowers the boom on him. And then we got Ferdy Pachenko over here, the cut man, taking care of Tolbert in the sideline. I love that attitude. That is a great attitude.
That's what gets you in the playoffs, and they need that at 7-6. Trailing Kansas City by a game. 3rd and 10. Blitz off the edge. Smith to Morgan. Jammer closes him off. Burnett knocks him out short of the sticks.
One other thing on that play with Tolbert, guys, if a receiver or a running back loses his helmet, the play is stopped right now. If you're anybody else and you lose your hat, you just, all you do is be like Tolbert.
He's a
keep
football
on going,
player.
yeah. You just keep on going. Be like Mike.
Be like Mike. That's good stuff.
Any ball carrier, play is blown dead on the spot. No more Jason Witten running down the field. Is punt away by Lee. Cason to the 28. Turned back at the 32-yard line. 45-yard punt. 5-yard return. Huge game. Niners and Chargers in San Diego. Well, a week from tonight, Thursday Night Football sets up shop in Pittsburgh as the Steelers trying to hold on to the division lead in the AFC North, host the Carolina Panthers. Then a Christmas night special, the Dallas Cowboys in Arizona against the Cardinals. That begins at 7:30. And don't forget, coming up on the Sprint halftime show, a live interview featuring Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger as the Steelers get ready for a Sunday showdown against the New York Jets.
There's an idea for your next. That's an
idea
for Matt's next haircut.
Tolbert, cut and helmet and all, picks up a yard on first down.
You know, it's interesting just talking to Greg Minuski, the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. He's just talking about Norv Turner and what respect he has for Norv as a play caller. But he said there's a couple things that you're going to have no matter what. He says he's going to run the ball early. He's going to take some vertical shots. He'll have a couple screens, a reverse, and then he'll get into what he really wants to do.
Well, he only waited 3 plays tonight. The 58-yarder to Vincent Jackson to give San Diego a 7-0 lead. McMichael, the motion man, on the 2nd and 9. Rivers gets cut down.
You're never going to confuse Phillip Rivers with Michael Vick.
No, Isaac
That's a
Sopoaga
good point.
with the tackle. Good play by Sopoaga.
But I'll tell you, Joe, what you did confuse him with was coverage down the field. And Sopoaga is able to make the sack because there was excellent coverage down the field. Rivers had time enough to throw it, then had to move, and that's where Sopoaga got him.
And this is the position on the field where you just don't want to force an issue. Your defense is playing well. Pick up as many yards as you can. You're not going to be able to hold the ball very long. So get it out of your hands. Let the receiver run.
Second, third, and long for San Diego. They're 0 for 1. They screen it for Sproles. Nice job by Clements to cut him down after a gain of 2.
Who's one of the best tackling corners in the league. Not a big guy, but a very good tackler. Does a really nice job of coming in low. He's one of those guys who go for the legs all the time. Nicely done.
Once Sproles gets going in space, dangerous. So is Ted Ginn. San Diego allowing 19.4 yards per punt return. That's the worst in NFL history. And Cyphers barely got that one off. Ginn with room and speed. Ginn out near midfield, but they say he stepped out at the 43-yard line.
The last 2 series, Bob, the San Francisco 49er defensive front has taken it to this offensive line.
And Mike Cyphers, the punter, gets in Ginn's way after a 23-yard return.
And the other thing you're seeing is when the San Diego Chargers go back to punt, it's just a question of excitement. Everybody's holding their breath because that one, if he comes in properly and puts his hands out instead of trying to swing him down, he could have gotten that blocked, and he took a shot.
Good field position for the Niners from their own 42. Anthony Dixon out to the 49-yard line. Well, the San Diego Chargers, how could this team with all this talent be 7-6? Total yards second, passing yards second, points per game third. Defensively, it's been lights out, first in total yards, fourth in rush yards allowed. But then the special teams. They've allowed 4 returns for touchdowns, 4 block punts, 19.4 yards per punt return, the highest in NFL history. They just gave up a 23-yarder. Cyphers nearly had another punt block. Why are they so bad?
Because, I'll tell you, 1 second.
Second and 4 for Smith. Fires a bullet. Morgan's got it. First down in San Diego territory.
Back to your question, Bob. In the beginning of the year, they had a lot of young players that they thought could do the job on special teams. And this is what happens with people. You get the young guys in there, you think they can play, and then all of a sudden the speed of the game catches up to them. You find out young guys can't handle it. You're much better off with a veteran unit in special teams than you are trying to plug young guys in. Don't care if they can run faster, but their assignments aren't as sharp.
First time in San Diego territory for the Niners. Dixon with room, stiff arms Cooper, takes on Weddle to the 22. It's a gain of 17.
This Dixon is a big guy. Joe, you and I were down on the field before the game, and he came out, and I was like, holy smokes, look at the size of this guy. It's a big man from the waist down, and he's a powerful kid.
And he just pushes Stephen Cooper away.
Oh, that's nice. That is some good stuff right there.
That's 235 against 235.
And 235-1.
Yep.
Dixon, a 6th-round draft pick out of Mississippi State, set the school record with 3,900 yards rushing in his career. First and 10, and Westbrook picks up 2. Well, the San Francisco 49ers, most observers said this team was going to win the NFC West. 0-5 start, 4 losses by 3 or fewer points, 5-3 since. They have 2 division games left, the Rams and Cardinals. They could use a little help along the way, but they still have a chance to make it to the postseason.
They're actually playing their best football right now. I'm really impressed with this offensive line right now coming off the ball.
On a 2nd and 8. Not a lot of room for Westbrook as he nudges forward for about a yard on the play. Sean Phillips on the tackle. Phillips in his 7th year out of Purdue. 56 tackles and 10 sacks on the season. And that'll be the final play of quarter number 1 here in San Diego. Huge playoff implications at stake. Vincent Jackson has the only touchdown. It was a 58-yard bomb from Phillip Rivers. Chargers in front after 1. Tonight's aerial coverage is being presented by Southwest Airlines. 53 degrees at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego as we get set for the start of the second quarter between the Chargers and Niners. Bob Papa, Joe Theismann, Matt Millen, Alex Flanagan. San Diego scored on a 58-yard touchdown to Vincent Jackson on the first offensive possession, but North Turner's team has only managed 20 yards on 12 other plays since. San Francisco driving 109 consecutive passes in the red zone without an interception for Alex Smith. Third and 8 to start the second. Smith trying to buy some time toward the end zone, over the head of Ginn, and incomplete.
I like the poise of Alex Smith. We just showed that graphic, him protecting the football in the red zone, but then you also look at his athletic ability, his ability to run around. I mean, 16 carries, he's got 50 yards plus rushing, but he can escape and get himself out of harm's way, at least throw the ball away and give yourself a chance for some points.
I thought he was going to take off and run there because he can run. He's fast. I'll tell you, one of the biggest supporters he has is North Turner. He really likes him.
They had him for a year.
Jeff Reed signed on the 3rd of December for 38 yards. And Reed gets the Niners on the board. So Jeff Reed connects from 38, 7-3 Chargers. Guys, there was a late flag on the 38-yard field goal by Jeff Reed. Antonio Garay using leverage to the right of your screen. That is a personal foul penalty, 15 yards. Take the point off the board. San Francisco has a 1st and goal at the 10. Westbrook gets nothing. You cannot use an opponent or your own player to go up on the back of one of the down linemen to try to block the kick.
We've seen a couple in the games we've watched. This one tonight and one, I believe, last week had a similar play. But it's interesting that Mike Singletary decided to take the points off the board. It tells you how important he feels the 4 more would be as opposed to 7. And another special teams mistake by the San Diego Chargers.
So that called against Eric Foster of the Colts a couple of weeks ago. 2nd and goal. Delaney Walker fights for the 7. Grabbed around the ankle by Gregory.
That's a similar play that we saw on the 3rd and short. Same thing. This time not as flat, but they like Delaney Walker.
It's the exact same play they ran, Matt. But the thing is you've got guys who can block. You've got Vernon Davis out front blocking, doing a good job. You got Josh Morgan out front doing a good job. But there's no place for the defense to drop to give you an opportunity to turn it up and go somewhere.
That was a great play by Applewhite. Look, Norm's still talking to Garay right here about that, about his leverage play.
3rd and goal. Can San Francisco make a pay? Smith gonna run it. Smith, will he get there? Yes, touchdown.
That's the athleticism we were speaking of, and that's the speed we thought we'd be able to see on that previous 3rd down. This time he takes it.
It looked like they were closing on him.
Ooh, that's a pylon.
See,
got the pylon. That is a touchdown. So the kid from just outside of San Diego hits the pylon, touchdown, and the penalty on Garay capitalized by San Francisco, the leverage penalty.
Gutsy decision by Mike Singletary to say, you know what, we're going to go for it. And North Turner's going to challenge now. I know he hits the pylon, and he hits it with his shoulder. Does the ball break the plane of the goal line?
If it hits that pylon, it's 6.
If the ball does.
Yeah.
Watch the shoulder.
The ball's in his lead hand.
And that
right there.
See,
it's on the other side of the
That
pylon.
ball does not cross the goal line.
Well, watch his right knee as it hits right there.
I mean, that ball does not cross the goal line. And whatever the turnout is, I think it's a good challenge. Knees on the ground, ball doesn't quite cross the goal line. Be an interesting decision.
The ruling on the field is touchdown. We'll have the review after this.
I was gonna say, I got you. Talk.
Back in San Diego, the ruling on the field, Alex Smith with the touchdown run. Norv Turner has elected to challenge the run. This was all set up on the leverage play by Antonio Garay on Jeff Reed's good 38-yard field goal. See, he's clearly on the back of one of the opposing players. That is an obvious call. Another special teams mistake by the San Diego Chargers as he just jumps on the back of a couple Niners.
He's on Nayupati, 77 right there.
And then Alex Smith going for the pile. Gets hit by Kason. The right knee is down. Now remember, it was ruled a touchdown on the field. Is it enough to overturn it?
To me, that's 6 points. You hit that pylon, that's part of the goal line. That's in bounds, that's 6.
The knee is down right there. Clete Blakeman is the referee. He's the only rookie referee in the National Football League this season. And he's looking at it in the monitor, the replay monitor. There's the knee hitting right there as his right elbow is touching the pylon.
After review of the play, the runner's knee was down short of the goal line. The ball will be placed at the 6-inch mark. It'll be 4th and goal. San Diego's not charged with a timeout.
Knee is down.
Right there. You can see
Ball
his
has
knee.
not hit the pylon yet.
That is a good call.
All right, so guys, you're going for it here, right? You're down by 7.
Yeah.
I would. I would right here, especially given the fact the way your offensive line's been coming off the ball.
Absolutely. And you took some points off the board to get yourself in this situation. Wouldn't hesitate for it. And with Alex Smith's athletic ability, it gives you quite a few options. You can run play action. We haven't seen Vernon Davis become a part of this offense yet. So you have a fair amount of options with somebody that has this kind of athletic ability at the quarterback position.
Yeah, but this is an attitude play, Joe. This is about being physical. This is what Coach Mike Singletary is talking about, being 49er physical football.
4th and goal for the Niners, trying to tie it. They're not going to tie it. Dixon gets hammered. Brandon Seiler, who is questionable to even play, makes a play.
Really well done. Good anticipation by Seiler. He comes at the snap of the ball. You're going to watch him. Coming right through. Dixon's the big man. Seiler's bigger. Down he goes.
The USS Midway aircraft carrier in San Diego. Huge goal line stand for the Chargers. They'll start 1st and 10 from their own 3. Hester on the carry. Takes it out to the 8-yard line. All right, let's go back to the 4th and goal inside the 1.
This block has to happen here. These two go here and then go up to Seiler. So Nwabo inside, right down there. You see him? He's the key to the play. Because he takes those two, Seiler can come through clean and makes the hit in the backfield. And so on the bottom of the pile is Ogemdi Nwabo. He's the stud. Seiler makes the tackle.
2nd and 4. Colbert just short of the 1st down. He picks up 3 on the play. What a crazy sequence, guys. You get the 38-yard field goal, 3 points on the board for San Francisco. The leverage penalty on Gray, so San Francisco takes the 1st down. 1st and goal at the 10. They have a touchdown that's challenged by Norv Turner. It's overturned. 4th and goal inside the 1, and Mike Singletary and the Niners can't score.
That's like a quarter of activity in about 2 minutes.
That's how you get to 5 and 8. Things like that go against you. And great defense by San Diego defending the goal. 3rd and short. Hester. Did he make the yard to gain?
Looks like
it from the line judge from the near side. Keo Spikes got a hit on him. but he broke that plane and picked up the first down.
Nice job of coming off the ball.
Now,
That offensive line.
Jacob Hester a year ago would not have been able to do that. He was 15 pounds lighter. This offseason, he really made himself into a fullback, beefed himself up a little bit, made himself a bit more physical, and he fits into this one. I mean, between Mike Tolbert and him in the backfield, you got fullback slash halfback.
He reminds me of the old Chicago Bear, Matt Suey. Same type of guy.
Tolbert in a one-back set. And we get a delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Norv's talking about the fact that they never reset the play clock. They do now.
Just speaking to Norv Turner, he's the play caller for this Charger team. He said what he wanted out of this offense was 10 to 12 play drives. He wanted to see them get on track and not rely on big plays.
Travis LeBoy with a nice hit on Tolbert. No gain on the play. Now Justin Smith's going to get flagged.
Now let me tell you, that's this guy right here, that umpire. That's Garth DeFelice. He's one of the toughest umpires in the National Football League, and he's not afraid to jump in the middle of the fight and break it up, which he was trying to do there. Justin Smith wasn't aware that it was him and kind of gave him a swat. But Garth isn't backing away from anybody. He's an old school guy. See him push him right there?
You can't push him. Can't push him. You cannot show any aggression towards an official. As seamless as it might appear, you cannot do that.
Now, and just know, Justin Smith is not a guy who's prone to that. I mean, he's as good a guy as there is in this league. He reacted, and Garth isn't about to take any of that.
After the play, personal foul on Terry Rucker, number 94 of the defense. That foul was against an official, and it requires an automatic disqualification of number 94.
Oh, that's huge. He is their best defensive lineman. That's a huge loss for San Francisco.
Poise under pressure, and Justin Smith didn't have it. So they lose their best defensive lineman for the game. He has been ejected for shoving the umpire. Automatic by rule. It's not judgment. That's a rule. You can't put your hands on the official. He's getting into it with Chris Wilson.
He doesn't even see that it's Garth. He just throws him by the side, and then he looks up and is like, and there's the flag. He said, I pushed you.
So that's a first down out to the 23, and now San Francisco loses Smith. Rivers on a 1st and 10. Wide open, Corey Sperry in space. Into San Francisco territory. It's a gain of 35. It's the longest of Sperry's career.
What makes this play is Vincent Jackson on the outside. They're paying so much attention to Vincent Jackson. Spencer is running away with them, and all of a sudden you wind up with that big void, and it's a gimme. Nice, easy throw.
Jackson clears it, and then Tolbert in the flat holds the underneath backer, and there's the void right behind him.
They ran that route right in front of us in practice yesterday. Philip joked about it because we can get Sperry out there. He can catch it. Rivers again wide open. Jackson shoved out of bounds, but another first down for San Diego. Gain of 15.
Yeah, Bob, right here. This is about a cushion, and this is about too much respect for the size and speed of Vincent Jackson.
And this is about the San Francisco 49ers having to be able to step up once again and make a defensive stand. But look at the room, Matt, you were talking about it. I mean, yeah, Vincent Jackson's pretty good, but he's not going to go running by you, and you don't need to be 15 yards away from him.
Quickly, San Diego and San Francisco territory. Rivers again. Can't find Tolbert. Willis on the coverage. With 9:10 to go in the second, San Diego scored a touchdown on the opening possession, a 58-yard touchdown pass, Phillip Rivers to Vincent Jackson. San Francisco kind of had some momentum going their way, guys, but then the touchdown taken off the board because of the reversal in the call. The penalty now on Justin Smith. He's out of the game. And now San Diego's got it and threatening in San Francisco territory. 8th play of the drive coming up. Rivers to Sproles in space. Chased out by Ahmad Brooks after a gain of 5.
Guys, I got to tell you, I could watch Darren Sproles play football on a Thursday night, on a Sunday afternoon, or in practice. He's got a motor that doesn't stop. He's very, very good, knows where he wants to go, but you watch him practice, he'll take kickoffs and punts, and during practice, he'll return them 60, 70 yards. He'll take handoffs and run 30, 40 yards. I mean, he is a guy that just gets you excited to be a teammate.
And at 5'6", he can get lost pretty easily. 3rd and 5 as the Chargers go empty. Rivers, Jackson, first down. Gain of 7.
Well, if you don't have Antonio Gates and you want to run inside routes, Antonio Gates is 260. When you look at Vincent Jackson, he's 230. You can run pretty much similar routes. He's got fresh legs, hasn't been around all year. So you let him get in there and let him take the shots. Of course, Patrick Willis can't wrap up with that club. Looks like a Q-tip that was dipped in tar.
This drive started at the San Diego 3. Colbert. Oh, what a stiff arm by Colbert. Can't get away from Goldson, and he loses his helmet again. No gain.
He's gonna have to get a new chin strap on that bad boy. It's coming off too easy. But what a tough guy. You know, we talked earlier about his attitude, and it's all the way through. I mean, this is attitude, not aptitude, determines altitude. This guy has a great mindset. Great mindset.
I can tell you, his altitude is not very high off the ground.
Altitude is not very good.
And the Niners don't have Justin Smith for the rest of the game ejected for shoving the umpire. No Antonio Gates out with the foot injury. Rivers using whatever he has at his disposal. 2nd and 10, a flag flies as Rivers takes the snap. We'll check the call from Cleve Blakeman, our referee.
There is no foul for an illegal snap. Prior to that, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Well, Mike Singletary and the 49ers need wins desperately. 5-8, Norv Turner and the San Diego Chargers. Can they win another division? They've won 4 in a row in San Diego. Turner has won 3 in his first 3 years here. Been under a lot of fire, though, with the way this team has played, especially special teams-wise. It's cost them and put them in this predicament. 2nd and 15. Rivers to Kelly Washington for a gain of 12.
Talking to Phillip Rivers yesterday, and of course he's thrown the ball to 17 different receivers. He said Kelly Washington has been the one guy that has been able to come in and play the slot. He said, you know, the thing about it with slot receivers is just me and him. It's a feel thing. We have to be able to feel that. And because, Matt, you brought it up, because of the size of these receivers, he can sort of throw in general areas with the outside guys. But the slot, it's got to be me and you.
See how Rivers distributes the ball very effectively. 3rd and 3. Rivers. Jackson. No. Did not get his feet in. Goldson got a hit on him and knocked him out.
Well done by Deshaun Goldson at the end. Defensively, you just got to go. That's a good call by the official. You just got to get on top of him. Get the hit and force him out of bounds. Remember the rule. Both feet have to clearly be in bounds. The top of his right foot was on the white.
What a terrific job, the position of the official.
Terrence Miles, the back judge, was right there.
I mean, his head is right in it.
So Nate Kading, career 86%, second best in NFL history from 25, and he knocks it through. Phillip Rivers and Norv Turner always working on ways to attack a defense. They have a 10-0 lead here in the second. Now the San Diego Chargers have won their last 31 games in which they've had a lead of 10 or more points. Current longest streak in the NFL. They lead by 10. I just called Carl Johnson's office to find out why Justin Smith is still on the bench. They're going to send someone to escort him to the locker. By rule, when you're ejected from the game, you should be taken to the locker
Immediately.
I remember that rule.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, you
Matt.
would, wouldn't you?
I've had a few of those.
Yeah.
Or someone will get Justin Smith and get him to the locker room. Ginn on the return from the 5. Guys return the corner and out to the 25-yard line. Dante Hughes runs him out. Well, Alex Smith was oh so close to a touchdown, but it's San Diego in front by 10 here in the second. Back in San Diego, Justin Smith now being escorted to the locker room. He was ejected on the last defensive series. 153 straight games with a start, longest current streak for a defensive lineman in the league. So San Francisco needs points, down by 10 from their own 25-yard line. They'll start. Smith with time. Smith wide open. Morgan. And Morgan, as he gets run out of bounds, let's see now, the officials are huddled up, and it's still San Francisco ball as Weddle came and knocked it away.
It's the same concept that San Diego's running.
I'm not sure whether he's out or not. This could be another challenge from Norv Turner.
Ruling on the field was a catch and a fumble, but the defender recovered the fumble with a foot out of bounds. That makes him out of bounds. First down, San Francisco.
Ooh.
Yep, he clearly had possession of the ball, secured, and then he took his 2 steps. Then he bobbled it as he was going out of bounds.
And then Weddle is out of bounds when he makes the, right there, you'll see him. He makes the reception with his foot out of bounds.
Westbrook on a 1st and 10 to the 48-yard line. Steve Gregory on the tackle.
That's a fumble.
Take a look at Weddle's, tough to see his feet along the sideline as Morgan bobbled it.
Well, it's a moot point now. It's in the books. And just looking at this San Francisco offense, there's 3 guys they need to get the ball to. Brian Westbrook is one. The other one is Vernon Davis, and the third is Michael Crabtree. They like to keep them in space. If they can get them the ball, they feel good about it.
Westbrook inside the 45 to the 42 in what has been a wild second quarter.
And Matt,
gain of 4.
Matt, to your point, Vernon Davis has not had a catch.
Bingo.
Nor has Michael Crabtree.
Vernon Davis
Crabtree
really
has 1 for 9.
Yeah, Vernon Davis really is the key. He is a matchup problem for defenses. How do you handle him? Do you use a secondary man, a safety, a linebacker? What do you walk out on him? Because he can run like a wide receiver.
Throw him the ball. It doesn't matter what you walk out of. When they don't throw him the ball, it doesn't matter.
Third and 3 for Smith. Sack. Body slam by Antonio Garay. Loss of 6. 5th sack of the season for Garay.
Garay made the sack, but the play is made from the outside. Luis Castillo pushes from the outside, and then here comes the big, powerful Garay coming up from the inside. And what a little bit of emphasis on the end of this one. You know, Antonio Garay was one heck of a wrestler.
And that was a heck of a body slam.
It was. That was 2 points.
And Garth DeFelice, the umpire, got hurt. Antonio Garay was on the practice squad with the Jets last year, got signed last year, and is having a great year here in San Diego with his wild hairdo. This guy was out of the NFL for 2 years and was just working out in New Jersey. His family and friends kept encouraging him The gym he worked out was frequented by Phil Simms, the CBS broadcaster and former NFL quarterback. He watched him work out. He said, wow, he watched him play in a basketball game. He said to him, you need to be doing more football stuff rather than just lifting and working out. He referred him to Jim Burt, the former nose guard for the Niners and Giants. Yeah. And Jim started working with him, and he kept on sending out video and keeping in contact with coaches. And he hooked up with Ron Rivera here in San Diego, who was his coach in Chicago, where he played 2 years in the league, and he has turned into a fantastic player with 5 sacks on the season. Lead a punt. Inside, a fair catch at the 13-yard line. Well, San Diego gets the ball back. Garay with his 5th sack. Chargers by 10. Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers offense back out on the field. 4:08 to go in the first half. Chargers in front 10-0. Rivers has thrown a 58-yard touchdown pass to Vincent Jackson. Antonio Garay with the sack on the last series. And San Diego starts from their own 13. Garth DeFelice, the umpire, back in the ballgame as Ryan Matthews, no gain on the play. Take a look at the chalkboard, Matt.
Well, we talked about the difference in height, and now we're talking 6'5" as opposed to 6 foot, and that's just your vertical height. Then there's also the lengthened arms and all that. And then here's the thing you forget about big people. These guys, this is a long strider. He eats up a lot of real estate with every step. Now that's too much of a cushion that he's given him, but he does have very good speed.
Hester comes in motion on a 2nd and 10. Rivers got hit, and it's dropped by Ahmad Brooks.
You know, Bob, you said before when Delaney Walker dropped the pass, you said that's how you become 5-8. This is how you become 5-8 also. Opportunity right there, ball's right in his hands, goes right through it. Good field position, and he's one of the few linebackers that doesn't have a club on his hand.
Maybe if he had one, it would have helped.
Former North Carolina State Wolfpack member Manny Lawson hitting former Wolfpack member Phillip Rivers to force that errant throw. Spikes and Willis with the clubs. Need a stop on 3rd and 10. Rivers under pressure again. Kelly Washington. Nobody stops him as he gets deep into the territory of the Niners. And there's a flag on the play as Washington is shaken up. Gain of 36.
That one, though, is all on Phillip Rivers. They brought a blitz to the top side, and it was more numbers than their protection could handle. And so he has to be able to sit in there. 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 5 versus 4 rather. And he sits in and just patiently waits. Here comes Kelly Washington, right on the money.
Terrell Brown on the tackle.
Personal
Rivers
foul.
took a shot.
Unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 25. Late hit out of bounds. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down, San Diego.
Terrell Brown.
Oh, that's close. That's a tough call. I mean, he starts going into the tackle while he's still in bounds.
And then if he cuts back, it goes the other way. What do you say to your coach if you're Terrell Brown? I thought he was going out.
That's a tough one. Watch when he starts his tackle. Okay, starting to tackle, he's still in bounds.
No,
that's tough.
He hits him.
Yeah, that border is 6
out of
feet
bounds.
wide.
And remember,
you sound like an offensive guy now.
but they're also going to err for protection.
Yes, they are.
That's the other thing I think you have to understand is the official, and he's making a good point. He says, hey, look, I started my tackle when he was on the line, on the out of bounds line. It wound up out there. You're still going to err, and this is what players have to understand. You're going to err to protect the runners and the receivers. Now he throws it. He's out of bounds.
Yeah, but Joe, that's a tough call. I mean, no, look, the official, I agree. He's going to err to the side of safety. That's just a hard call to make because, like I said, he started his tackle while he's still in bounds, and then he follows through with it.
And Washington, former Cincinnati Bengal, New England Patriot, and Baltimore Ravens shaken up.
The last thing the Chargers need is another wide receiver down. Malcolm Floyd's already down today, as well as Patrick Creighton. So they're starting to get a little thin once again at the wide receiver position.
And of course, Antonio Gates out as well. Although Randy McMichael has done a very nice job here this evening for San Diego, picking up some of the slack. Led the team in receptions in 6 consecutive seasons, tying an NFL record for tight ends with Shannon Sharp. Rivers has gone over 4,000 yards this season for the 3rd consecutive year, tying Dan Fouts' club record. And another 15-yard penalty against San Francisco in this quarter. And the Niners 36. Matthews, the rookie, inside the 25 to the 22-yard line, gain of 14.
You think about what the Chargers gave up to have the opportunity to draft Ryan Matthews. They gave up a 1st, a 2nd, a 4th, and Tim Dobbins to the Dolphins to move up, I think, 12 spots to be able to draft him. That's how much they thought of him once LaDainian Tomlinson was let go by the Chargers.
There's a lot to like with Ryan Matthews. He's a 220-pound man, has great speed, and for a rookie, has some very good inside runner's patience, has the speed, like you said, to be able to get outside. But Ollie Wilson, his running back coach, he says he's doing nothing but getting better and better as the season's gone on.
Golson was shaken up. And the other thing, too, with Matthews is he had an ankle situation, ankle injury. And as Norv Turner told us, you know, it's just a matter of reps. He just hasn't gotten enough reps. And as a rookie, you miss practice reps, it sets you back. He had a 65-yard performance last week against Kansas City. And Philip Rivers said, hey, you know, maybe he's going to get a little something going. He needed that. Now Rivers has to call a timeout with 2:31.
Is he going to be hot
to go
now?
In the half. He might be hot, but I'll tell you when he's hot. He's hot in the month of December, Philip Rivers is. When you take a look at his resume, career numbers in December and January in the regular season, he's 20-1 with 38 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 98. And this team has needed him over the last couple of years to play well down the stretch, especially in 2008 when they had to win their last 4 and they won the division at 8-8.
And when you sit and talk to Philip Rivers, you really get the sense that he's delighted with the fact that he's able to do all the things with all these different guys. Whoops.
And you take a look at some of the best records in December and January. It's with the likes of Darryl LaMonica and Roger Staubach.
And Joe Theismann.
Big Joe.
Thank you.
1st and 10 for Matthews. Hit at the 19-yard line by Reggie Smith, the safety out of Oklahoma. Why were you so good so late, Joe?
It was the team I played on. I mean, our guys really looked forward to getting into December and January. I mean, you could smell the playoffs. It seemed like the intensity at practice got more exciting. Players took care of themselves. They just had a lot of fun.
Well, it takes us to the 2-minute warning. Philip Rivers trying to improve upon that mark. His Chargers driving again, leading by 10. All right, Rich, and the Chargers coming right at you. They led 7-0 after 1. San Francisco appeared to have a game-tying touchdown. Norv Turner challenged it. It was overturned. Mike Singletary's Niners were stopped at the 1. San Diego drives it downfield, gets a field goal. They lead 10-0, threatening for more. With 2 minutes to go in the half. Rivers, McMichael, hot potato, but a first down. Paris Harrelson on the tackle, gain of 8.
Nice quick decision by Philip Rivers. He sends the motion out. He sees immediately that it's a zone, and at the snap of the ball, the backers clear. McMichael fills the void. Quick decision, first down.
San Diego with 2 timeouts remaining. 1st and 10 at the 11. Kelly Washington is checked back in for San Diego. Rivers, Jackson, touchdown. Second time they've hooked up tonight.
What they're going to do is they're going to clear everything out on the right side. Kelly Washington comes in. You see Vincent Jackson right there in the middle. He runs a little delay, just a little hesitation across the middle. let everybody else clear out. Phillip does a real nice job of sliding in the pocket to be able to make the throw.
Nate Kading's extra point is good.
They were cutting the backer to KO Spikes. They were cutting him specifically to Vincent Jackson. Vincent Jackson read it perfectly, got on top of the cut, and was able to beat him to the top side.
Vincent Jackson, 4 catches, 91 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. 17-0 for Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers with 1:19 to go in the first half.
You know, lost in all this talk right now is the protection that Phillip Rivers is getting. And I can't help but think he's been sacked 1 time, and that was by Justin Smith early in the game. And so the loss of Justin Smith, I really believe, hurts this 49er defensive front. He's the guy who gives them consistent pressure up inside, and he's able to do it, you know, against some good players. Now he's going against Marcus McNeil when he beat him. I think they missed him.
Yeah, but you look at all the mistakes that the San Francisco 49ers made. Bob, you went through them before.
And Ahmad Brooks just dropped an interception as well. But, you know, San Diego at 7-6, they need help. Kansas City still has a game lead on them. But, you know, they're starting to get that momentum going, Joe. And with the way Phillip Rivers is playing, this is a talented football team if they can get the special team stuff squared away. Again on the return. Good coverage. And Gregory makes the tackle. Thought the fantasy football season was over? Well, folks, it is not. Play NFL.com Playoff Challenge today. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 48 in Indianapolis. Sign up for a free look at NFL.com/fantasy or search NFL Playoff Challenge.
Now this is the position that Alex Smith wants to be in. He wants to prove that he is what he is, and he has great confidence in himself against a good Charger defense. He's got to be sharp, and he has been up to this point.
Got 2 timeouts to work with. Mike Singletary said we're going to learn a lot about Alex Smith in this ball game with all the pressure at 5 and 8. Smith, Westbrook, short gain, Gregory, and Phillips on the tackle.
You know,
Pickup
Matt,
of 2.
I can't believe that the San Diego Chargers have completely taken Vernon Davis away from this offense. Mike Johnson, their offensive coordinator, has to come up with some way to get his best playmaker the ball. I mean, you're working against linebackers. He's got 49 catches. He's averaging 15 yards a catch. He's your leading touchdown guy. There has to be a way that you can get him the football.
Mike Singletary said that this is a big game for Alex Smith. It's really a big game for sort of this entire coaching staff and group. They're in their 2nd year. Lofty expectations for this football team. We talked about all the close losses. He made Mike Johnson his new offensive coordinator when he got rid of Jimmy Ray on September the 27th to open things up. But not only is it a referendum on the quarterback, it might be on the coach and the staff. 2nd and 8 from the 18. Smith sacked Luis Castillo.
Nowhere to go with that ball. Good coverage down the field. They sat in quarters.
Anthony Davis against Luis Castillo is a mismatch. Anthony Davis, they're the #1 pick out of Rutgers. You see him on the right side, number 76, and he gets beat right from the get-go. He slips. Well, the reason why he slips and falls, that's certainly not going to be a very easy way to make a block.
Yeah, that's a TE stunt. And so they take that tackle, and it was just Castillo, and they drive him to the top shoulder of that guard, and you force them to make a decision. Now, he doesn't help himself because he slips, but Castillo is able, on the mismatch, to get the sack.
Now San Diego uses a timeout, try to get the ball back with 1:02 to go. You know, Mike Singletary said he was really enthusiastic with the way this team handled all the adversity in the early part of the season. Of course, 10-time Pro Bowl selection, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1998. This team stayed together. It's built from the inside out. It's a character team, but this is a win-loss business. And right now he's 18-20 and staring at his 9th loss of the season, and a team that was picked to win the NFC West. 3rd and 13 for Alex Smith and the Niners. Smith to Morgan, but there's no place to go on a 3rd and 13. Closing quickly to the football, Dante Hughes.
And so if you're sitting at home and you're a fan, you're saying, what the heck is he throwing it underneath for? Well, the answer is simple. They're taking all the deep stuff away. That's what they're going to give you. So yes, did they run some routes down the field? Absolutely. It's taken away, so they force you to dump it down.
But if I'm sitting at home going, why the heck isn't he throwing the ball to Vernon Davis in the middle of the football field?
Well,
if they're dropping deep.
Because he was running down the middle of the field right into his safety. You're not going to make that throw.
Well, I don't know. I have. And they've gone back the other way.
San Francisco
That's
will
happened before. I remember a certain Super Bowl.
Too. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, hey, hold on. Jack Squire, can you hear him? Yeah, I got him.
Ouch.
While you two go through that, we'll get the call from the official. A delay of game as San Francisco let the game clock go down to 13. San Diego is out of timeouts. Norv Turner used one on 3rd down, but you know, Alex Smith trying to make something happen. What's being taken away from him, Matt?
Well, you can see the coverage. Here's the 2 deep safeties, and they're going to run these corners back, okay? So they're going to take away all vertical routes. Right there in the middle, you saw was 85 running right into safety. Now, you can't make that throw, so they're forcing you to have to dump it down.
Joe would still make it. Lead a punt.
Tom Brady would make it and complete it.
Kayson backpedals to the 29. Kayson stumbled and got hit as he crossed midfield. A return of 22 after a 54-yard punt. Let's see if no, they're not going to put any time left on the clock.
Down by contact. Please put 2 seconds on the game clock. 2 seconds.
On the game clock. So Phillip Rivers in San Diego will try. At least could have an opportunity to throw one up.
Again, you bring up the size of the wide receivers. I mean, you've got Vincent Jackson. You certainly have to believe that he's going to be in the middle of a jump ball going down the field if you're going to take a shot.
I can't help but think that the turning point in the first half of this game was when Justin Smith was kicked out. Things changed right there.
Well, you might even go back a little bit further when Norv Turner challenged a touchdown by Alex Smith that was ruled a touchdown. It was reversed to take points off the board. Well, Washington 6'3", Vincent Jackson 6'5", Nene 6'2". They have big receivers. Rivers, though, under pressure from Lawson, and he just parks it in the San Francisco bench incomplete. Well, that's the end of the first half. San Diego led it 7-0 after 1. They lead it 17-0 over the Niners at the half. Stick around for the Sprint halftime show with a live interview with Ben Roethlisberger. Vernon Davis shut out in the first half. Crabtree had 1 catch for 9 yards. As Nate Kading gets set to start the 3rd quarter for San Diego. Pivotal game for both teams as they try to fight for a playoff spot. The directional kick pins Ginn along the sideline. Ginn with room, and Ginn is going to go! But there's a flag back at the 30-yard line. 85-yard return for a touchdown, but hold everything.
During the return, personal foul, grabbing the face mask on the return team, number 44. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Moran Norris called for the penalty.
You can't make this stuff up. I mean, you cannot beat yourself. And Joe, what you just talked about in the first half, here's a continuation of it.
It does. Drop passes, missed opportunities getting in the end zone. 88 right there holding on. I mean, you guys, I don't think that officials are going to see everything, but they do. They absolutely do.
Moran Norris with the face mask penalty to the face of Chris Wilson negates an 85-yard kickoff return for a touchdown for San Francisco.
What a job Ted Ginn did working the sidelines, too.
And San Diego, it won't go on the record, but another breakdown in special teams. Smith. Dixon picks up a couple. Well, we saw one miscue here in the third quarter. There's been a bunch of them from San Francisco. Alex Smith appeared to have a game-time touchdown challenge, so they go for it on 4th and goal. Dixon is stopped by Seiler. Then Justin Smith on the ensuing possession pushes the umpire. Garth Felice, he's ejected from the ball game. Ahmad Brooks dropped an interception, which then led to a touchdown for San Diego. And then Moran Norris, top of your screen with the face mask on Chris Wilson, negates the Ginn 85-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Westbrook to the 21. Antonio Garay on the tackle. A little extracurricular stuff as we check in with Alex Flanagan.
Well, Bob, the San Diego Chargers certainly haven't had any miscues on defense. Norv Turner telling me at the half that he absolutely loves what they've been able to do defensively in this game. They have shut out their opponents now through 6 quarters, Bob, of football.
Yeah, the shutout last week of the Kansas City Chiefs in a huge win in the AFC West. As the Chargers picked up their 7th win, looking for number 8, 3rd and 4 for San Francisco. Smith under pressure, got hit, intended for Crabtree, incomplete.
The front four of the San Diego Chargers, whether they bring a linebacker, no matter what they do, the San Francisco offensive line just can't handle them. Alex Smith is holding on to the ball a little bit longer than he wants to. That's not a bad pocket, but there's nowhere to go. Terrific coverage. You see him come around the back, wind up making the play. Antoine Barnes doing a terrific job from the backside, making sure Alex Smith can't make the completion in the middle.
And one of the advantages that the San Diego defense has is they have 3 guys who can rush the passer, and Antoine Barnes is one of them.
Andy Lee with the punt. Face on from the 31. Slips on the turf. He can get back up and does to the 42-yard line. And then knocked down by Delaney Walker. 49-yard punt, 10-yard return. No points for the San Francisco 49ers, down by 17. Temperatures in the low 50s in San Diego as we welcome you back to Thursday Night Football. The Chargers with a 17-0 lead over the Niners, 13:04 to go in the third quarter. Phillip Rivers, 13 of 18, 195 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Mike Tolbert picks up about 3 on the play. Well, Norv Turner's in his 4th year as head coach of the San Diego Chargers. And you take a look at Norv Turner and the way his team has started. During certain years they finish strong, but the big question is, can they finish in the postseason? 5-1 since the 2-5 start last year. Listen, a lot of people thought this team was going to the Super Bowl in 2009. They lose a home playoff game to the Jets, in which the Jets came in and just out-physical the Chargers. He's won 3 straight division titles, but with this talent, should there be more? 2nd and 7 for Rivers. Sproles in space. Sproles with a first down, the 47, gain of 9. So, Joe, you know, Norv Turner, 39 wins, 22 losses in San Diego, 3 straight division titles. Criticized fairly or unfairly?
I think it's unfairly. I think he is unfairly criticized. He's done an excellent job with what he's had to work with, and each year you have to look at it as a separate year. This year, special teams have betrayed him, and he stayed with Steve Crosby, the special team coach. He said they can fix it. He's had multiple injuries on a lot of different occasions. Phillip Rivers has thrown the ball to 17 different receivers. It seems like every week it's either an Antonio Gates out, Vincent Jackson wasn't in, Patrick Creighton's out, Malcolm Floyd's out. And I think he's done a very nice job, as well as Phillip Rivers, trying to manufacture some type of offense when you're constantly changing. So no, I think you stay with him, and he can continue to get it better and better.
Danny Lawson shaken up on the last play for San Francisco. Tolbert on the run again. Tolbert takes on Golson, and he's got a first down.
What a
picks
beast.
up 11.
You see him at the end. This is Nate Trone. You know, remember Tank Holmes. Remember the Chiefs? Tank Holmes. Watch him finish this. Low pads, get out of my way, and then he just pushes him. That's just pure power.
He's got the blood on the pants.
Oh, yeah.
He lost his helmet a couple times.
Look at low man wins. It's all about leverage. Hey, you sitting at home, you kids sitting out there playing high school, low man always wins.
After that collision, Ryan Matthews will come in and take a rep for San Diego at the tailback on a 1st and 10. Matthews kind of turning corner, gets what he can, and then shoved out of bounds after a gain of 6. So Matt, back to North Turner, because he's a lightning rod here in San Diego. A lot of talent on this football team, but the special teams problems in the postseason and this year. Is he the guy to get this thing through to a championship?
Yeah, I think so. And I've been a big North Turner fan for a long time. I think one of Norv's great strengths is his play calling. I think he's on the very short list of great play callers in this league. That's the first thing. A head coach is only as strong as his staff that he puts together. I like the staff that he has right here, particularly on defense. He's going to have to get the special teams straightened out, but A.J. Smith has given him a good roster. They have the tools to make the run.
2nd and 4. Rivers just slips it to McMichael in between the club Spikes and Willis.
You know, and you got to love the way Philip Rivers makes throws. I mean, he throws it from a lot of different places. This is out of his hands quickly. It's just a little push throw, keeps it down low, and that's one of the things that quarterbacks that don't have as much experience do. Throw the ball high in the middle of the field, nothing really good can happen. Keep it down low, the worst that happens is an incompletion most of the time.
Tiny window that he stuck it in there.
Another 1st down for the Chargers. Colbert tripped up, picks up 2. Ray McDonald on the tackle. Well, you know, you talk about North Turner and the talent on this team. A.J. Smith, who holds a hard line with contracts like Marcus McNeil, and also with Vincent Jackson. I mean, the amount of personnel that he's brought in and restocked this team, Matt, is pretty impressive. A.J.
Smith is one of the best personnel minds in all of football. Has been for a long time. Has a gruff personality. Doesn't really care if you like him. That doesn't matter.
He's like Sinatra. I'll do it my way.
He is. I'll take that guy anytime.
2nd and 8 for Rivers. That ball deflected by Brooks, who got his hands on it again. It might have been tipped at the line by one of the linemen.
Philip Rivers gets hit just as he tries to make this delivery, and then Patrick Willis is going to come in and just club him. There comes the club.
He goes clubbing.
Gets his elbow just ever so slightly, and you know, Philip Rivers is a little bit lucky once again that this ball is not intercepted by Brooks.
Boy, Patrick Willis, club and all, he's a rare one.
Third and 8 for Rivers. McMichael shouldered down by Spikes, but it's a 1st down. Joe, talk about manufacturing throws. Rivers certainly does.
Well, you can call this a push. You can call it anything you want, but it's great awareness because Philip knows where everybody is on the field.
You know what I call it? A great catch.
Oh,
that was
look at that.
Great catch.
Just get it in a place where I can get one hand on it, and I'll hold on to it after the big hit.
First and 10, Chargers up by 17. Colbert fights for a couple of extra yards. Willis and Spikes on the tackle.
I want you to take a good look at Natron Means. This is just a few years back. San Diego, he was a powerful guy, played nice and low, had really good feet, and now this is the new Natron Means, a.k.a. Mike Tolbert. Same style, runs with the same reckless abandon, powerful guy. He's fun to watch, and he's a fire plug.
But you know, the description of finishing a run is Tolbert.
Oh,
he finishes the run. 2nd and 5 from the 7. See if Tolbert can finish the drive. Tolbert, a yard short of the 1st down. Spikes got him to the ground.
One of the things that's getting lost in this dominance by San Diego offensively is the play of Takeo Spikes and Patrick Willis. Both of those inside backers, they're at the bottom of every tackle, and they are handicapped. Both of them have broken hands. They're wearing clubs. And how easy do you think? How easy could it be trying to tackle somebody with 2 boxing gloves on?
Not easy. And you know what Patrick Willis is, and he's still an ascending player. But the guy, in my mind, who's maybe having as good a year as he's ever had, maybe his best year, is Takeo Spikes. In his 13th season, he is playing really well.
3rd and 1 at the 3. Play clock was down to 1. Chargers call a timeout, try to add to a 17-0 lead. With NFL Game Rewind, relive every game of the 2010 season and NFL playoffs online and in HD. Sign up today for new playoff special offers at NFL.com/Game Rewind or search NFL Game Rewind on NFL.com. Well, San Francisco doesn't want to rewind some of the mistakes that they've made here tonight, and San Diego's made them pay. 3rd and 1 for the Chargers with 7:06 to go in the 3rd, trying to build upon a 17-0 lead. Drive started at the San Diego 42. Colbert does not get the first down. Paris Harrelson's at the bottom of that pile for San Francisco.
And right here, you take the points.
You kick it.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the logical thing to do. I mean, you saw what happened to San Francisco down there. You just don't want to give them any life.
Well, hold on. It's a 3-score game right now. And if you kick it, it's still a 3-score game. Maybe he takes a shot.
Yeah, but the way your defense is playing, I mean, San Francisco hasn't put any points up yet. Just take your points, right?
Well,
I think
make it.
Go for it.
If you kick it, it's a 4-score game.
And it could be a situation where they may have to use another timeout because the clock's running down now to 10 seconds, and they're going to have to burn one more timeout because of the uncertainty.
See, if you kick it, it's still a 3-score game. It's 21. If you go for the the touchdown, and if you don't do anything right here, it's still a 3-score game. So if you go for the touchdown here, and let's go back to what you just said, Bob. You like what your defense is doing. This offense really hasn't been doing it, so you pin them right here. But get the first down first.
Sorry, because they don't have to score a touchdown here. They can still get the first down and get another set of downs. Well, you take a look at the playoff picture in the AFC. San Diego at 7-6, and currently in the hunt, trailing Kansas City, who's at 8-5 in the AFC West. Wild cards will come out of the West in the AFC.
Indianapolis has a huge game with Jacksonville this weekend.
That is going to be a monster because Jacksonville believes they can run the football on.
4th and 1. Colbert did not get in, but he's got the first down. His forward progress has him inside the 2. San Francisco's arguing, but that's the right call. His forward progress got him the first down.
And you see who they ran over? They ran right over the left guard, Chris Dillman. You can see he clearly has the first down. He goes over the top. Oh, nicely done by Manny Lawson, 99, Takeo Spikes, but not before he picks up. Oh, that's really well done. You see how
about Hester flying in there?
Throws himself in to Willis.
1st and goal at the 1 for San Diego. Colbert lowers his shoulder, did not get in, just short.
Sooner or
He
later,
lost his helmet again.
You keep pounding and pounding and pounding. You're going to find a little crease in this San Francisco defense. They strung him out a little bit this time, and he winds up powering it in again.
And see who was on top of him again? Takeo Spikes yet again.
Second and goal inside the 1. Colbert again, and he's in for the touchdown. Puts the helmet back on. 11th rushing touchdown of the season, and now San Diego's lead is 23 with the extra point pending.
You can only hold up to the pounding so much, Matt. And that's 6-7 times right at him. He goes low this time instead of trying to go up high. Patrick Willis coming in high, ducks under him, winds up in the end zone.
Kading's extra point is good. Well, a couple things have been consistent tonight. The hard physical play of Mike Tolbert and him losing his helmet. Get a tighter chin strap. Chargers up by 24. Well, Philip Rivers, clearly a team leader. Everyone knows about his fiery attitude, but he says it's more my mom than my father, the football coach in Alabama. He said, my mom was one of 9, and she used to watch football with her brothers. And he said, I learned about the game of football from my dad. Steve was a football coach in Alabama, but the competitive gene, he said, I think comes more from my mom. And he displays it every week for the San Diego Chargers. Gann had an 85-yard kickoff return negated because of a penalty. To start the third quarter, this time he gets shoved out after a return of 18. Can San Francisco get any offense going? We'll find out. Niners quarterback Alex Smith needs some help. Michael Crabtree has been targeted once. He caught that only pass for 9 yards, and Vernon Davis, nothing to this point.
Well, they want to get him the football, but he's frustrated right now. You can tell by the way he's working. He's trying to get places, nowhere to go with the football. He's bracketed by the linebackers. You have to design some opportunities for him, as you talked about, Matt. Get him in space. Put him out, let him use his athletic ability. Let him go one-on-one in space.
Smith and the Niners start from their own 22. And he just parks it at the feet of Westbrook.
You know, we talked about Vernon Davis, and we talked about Bryant Westbrook, and then Michael Crabtree. And there's one thing to say, these are the guys we have to get in space and get them the football. And there's another thing in having you do it. No defensive coverage can take you away every time. And so if your guy is Vernon Davis, then you have to design things around him. Move him. Line him up in the backfield. Motion him across. Put him in a slot. Make the defense declare how they're going to cover him. They haven't done that at all tonight.
Second and 10. Smith sacked again. Sean Phillips.
Joe, part of it is coverage. I understand that. The other part of it is, listen, if you're a quarterback, you know you're getting set, then get rid of the ball quick. The windows are going to be smaller. That's okay. You got to get rid of the ball.
And Ron Rivera, the defensive coordinator, told us yesterday, we got to find 85. They're going to take 85 away, and I think he's done a terrific job of deciding when he wants to bring pressure and when he wants to drop people up. Now, Ron's one of those guys you got to say to yourself, he should be a head coach somewhere in this league.
Third and 15 for Smith. Crabtree, second catch, goes nowhere. Weddle had it read perfectly. And San Francisco has to punt again.
And that Eric Weddle has had a lot of plays read perfectly this year. I think he's having a Pro Bowl year.
Says he studies Troy Polamalu and the way he's used in Pittsburgh.
The only thing is he's had 5 interception opportunities. And he said, you know what, they're not tough. He said, they've hit me in the hand, they've hit me in the chest, and I've dropped them.
Yeah, he said, it's my fault.
Fourth 3 and out and 7 possessions for the Niners. And they lead a punt. Jason back to the 22. Jason can't turn the corner. Tackled at the 31, 54-yard punt. 9-yard return. Alex Smith sacked 4 times tonight, the latest by Sean Phillips. South Beach Bar and Grills. Tacos. All for Matt Millen.
Matt just jumped out of his chair.
Where was that?
It's priceless.
You guys took me to that little sushi thing yesterday. I couldn't believe it. Now that was food. That was food. That's like me and Dombrowski. That's where we would go.
That's where you would go. The only problem is that would fill you up. What you had yesterday, just they don't have enough food there to fill you up.
Well, Dombrowski is Brian Westbrook trying to figure out a way to get something going. Dombrowski's in at left tackle right now for Marcus McNeil for San Diego. Philip Rivers 16 of 22, 219 yards, and both touchdowns going to Vincent Jackson. Ryan Matthews picks up a couple. Joe, let's talk a little bit about Philip Rivers and that unorthodox delivery.
It's unorthodox, but the thing is that the ball comes out at different places. This is basically sidearm. down just above the ear. And you'll see the next one, what he's going to do is he's going to bring it up a little bit more. I think you have to have that kind of flexibility in your arm. And it looks like a push motion, and it is, because when he was a young boy, he never went with a smaller football. He went with the heavier ball, and his arm wasn't strong enough, so he basically had to push it with his body, and now see how he wound up developing that particular throwing style.
I did credit quarterback coach John Ramsdell for sort of fine-tuning the motion a little bit. He says it's changed a lot since high school and then in college as Matthews gets the carry. Flag on the play.
You know, lost in all that motion, he's still really accurate.
I personally think sidearm throwers, and I was a three-quarters.
Defense, right tackle. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Some of the great sidearm throwers, I mean, Phillip lays it on out a little bit. Sonny Jurgensen, who I had the opportunity to watch and marvel at, he came from the side. Bernie Kosar, we know where that was, and Phillips the same way. But you look at the delivery point, the ball starts sideways a little bit, but you're still three-quarter. Every one of them about the same, and all three of them extremely productive. And I used to stand behind Sonny Jurgensen and just marvel at the accuracy and the touch on the ball. And then John Ramsdale really tightened him up a little bit. Phillips says, look, I was a little bit loose with it. Now I'm so much better getting it out. And he's right.
He said a lot of it had to do with the footwork, too, as far as him taking his drops and his spacing. Matthews near the first down marker, and he loses his helmet.
You know, Bob, that's
Ray
interesting.
McDonald on the tackle.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that about his footwork. You know, it's Steve Young, who's the youngster, the great player, Hall of Fame player, good friend. He would tell me that he would go in to watch tape, and they would never look at anything past the throw. All he'd ever do is just look at the feet and tell you if it was a good throw or not a good throw. And he said that he learned that from Mike Shanahan, and he said that was the best lesson that he got. It really drove home the point of how important hey, the youngster there. Oh, that's not him.
That's a youngster,
That was
though.
Really Steve Young. You'd get into an argument with him, too.
No, the youngster, that's my guy.
They wish Steve Young was throwing the ball tonight because they have no points to show for it. First down for Matthews with that extra effort after the measurement. Well, Niner fans wish that either Steve Young or Joe Montana was still around because it has been a mad search for a quality play at the quarterback, although you can't lay this all on Alex Smith tonight.
You can't. I mean, you can't go and say this is an Alex Smith game where you can judge what he's done. He's got no help whatsoever anywhere.
The only thing I'd say is he's got to get rid of the ball quicker at times.
Matthews on a 1st and 10. Abreu Franklin on the tackle. Gain of 3 as we send it down to Alex Flanagan.
Hey guys, going back to Phillip Rivers, you know, he has a little brother that's 11 years younger than he is that's going to be playing at LSU in 2011. Now, his high school coach was Phillip Rivers, one of the coordinators on the high school team when Phillip Rivers played there, and he said that his brother is even better than Phillip. He's taller, he's 6'7", says he throws the ball better than Rivers, going to be even a better quarterback than his big brother. So we maybe have a Peyton Eli situation potentially, Bob.
Yeah, his brother Steven on his way to LSU.
Alex, that's a tall order, no pun intended.
Yeah, but he'll be 16 years in the league by the time his brother gets here.
2nd and 7. Sproles, another first down. In and Niner territory.
You know, not
Tay
enough.
Spencer on the tackle.
Not enough is ever said about Darren Sproles. I mean, you look at him and you say, okay, here's a guy, you know, he's not a big guy. So go look at the little guy. This is not a little guy, he's a short guy. But he's 195 pounds. He is as smart as they come in terms of a football player. Yeah, he's a very willing blocker. He's out of the backfield. He's a guy you can trust. Down the field, you can trust him. He's a complete player.
Hester in motion on the 1st and 10. Matthews will lose a yard. Clements on the tackle for San Francisco along with Deshaun Goldson. Loss of 1 on the play. San Diego does not have to run a play here in the 3rd quarter with a 24-0 lead. Trying to pick up their 8th win of the season in a game that turned in a sequence in the 2nd quarter when a touchdown was taken off the board because of a challenge by Norv Turner. A goal line stand. San Diego drives it the other way. And San Diego's been off and running ever since. San Francisco can't get a handle on their offense. All Chargers through 3. Tonight's aerial coverage is being presented by Southwest Airlines. San Diego all dressed up for Christmas. Santa will be coming in about a week. And maybe an early present for the Chargers. That as we start the fourth quarter in front of San Francisco, 24-0. Phillip Rivers, 17 of 23, 230 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. And they have to get the cheerleaders and Santa out of the end zone. Santa working the camera.
That's the first time I've ever seen Santa be delayed.
It's a Santa delay. It's a delay of Santa.
I didn't realize this close to Christmas that Santa's moonlighting as a cameraman.
And all his little elves over there wondering what's happening too.
2nd and 11. Sproles to 44, picks up a couple. You know, you talked about Sproles, Matt, near the end of the third quarter and all the great things that he does for San Diego. Why is it that at no point tonight San Francisco has been able to get Brian Westbrook in space in those little flare passes just to get something going offensively?
Yeah, I'm miffed. I think if you have a playmaker, like I said earlier, coverages can't take everything away. And so you have to start moving them around then. Get guys in space and use what they can do in your favor.
Rivers, McMichael. First down to the 23. Gain of 22.
Once again, a Vincent Jackson influence. The safety bails out to the right. You see him coming out here. Reggie Smith opens up the middle of the football field. Randy McMichael says, I'm here and there's nobody around me.
And the ball is gone quickly.
Right now.
It's gone. You know, we talked about Norv Turner and just how he's on the short list for play callers. I think he might be the best one. This guy, whenever you watch the Chargers or any offense that Norv commanded, there are always guys open all over the place.
Matthews, no gain on the play. Well, and you know, Alex Smith, we were talking about Alex Smith, he had one of his best seasons when Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator in San Francisco, and it's been a revolving door for Alex ever since.
And it's very difficult because you can't ever get in the head of the coordinator if they're constantly changing it, where Phillip has had Norv now for quite a while. He calls a play. Phillip knows exactly what Norv wants where the football to go, and it becomes one.
You start anticipating things.
Matthews on 2nd and 10 falls ahead for 2 yards on the play.
You know, we're speaking to Norv Turner about Alex Smith, and the one thing that Coach Turner said was, you can't play in this league with all the coaches and players and receivers that he's gone through. He said it's just too hard. You can't develop any kind of chemistry. You can't start anticipating things.
And Norv's got a great one in Phillip Rivers. Rivers playing another Rivers-like game, 18 of 24 for 252 yards. 3rd and 8. Rivers, Jackson, touchdown. Hat trick for Vincent Jackson.
Once again, you cannot give Vincent Jackson this much room to be able to go and make a play.
Vincent Jackson extended that ball out. All you have to do is break the plane with it.
Hit the
Get
pylon.
both feet in bounds and boom, in for the touchdown.
And Mike Singletary is going to challenge this.
And then he kicks it.
Just to let everybody know that it's out there.
We've had 1 touchdown overturned tonight. See Jackson with it. Feet are in. Extends the ball. Possession. Crosses.
It's on the inside
of the pylon.
Remember, if because he's in the field of play and is running with the football, he controls the ball. Ooh, that's a good angle right there.
But it hits, I believe it hits the top of the, it looks like it, no, it doesn't hit the top of the pylon, but it crosses over
the top of it.
Right.
Remember, because at that point, after the catch, he's become a runner.
Right.
He's already made possession, and now he's reaching out trying to break the plane. Ruled a touchdown on the field under review. Vincent Jackson's touchdown is under review.
Now, because he is a runner, he's made the catch. The catch is not a problem. He turns into a runner as he goes up the field. The only thing they would question is if this ball is coming out. Is there control right there? I happen to think it is, and I happen to think there's not enough stuff there to overturn the call on the field.
Remember,
because it's no different than when a guy jumps over the top on a run. As soon as he breaks the plane,
right.
If he's broken the plane, it's a touchdown. If the ball comes out, it doesn't matter if it's by contact.
And we always have to be mindful of the fact of what the call was on the field, and this was a touchdown.
Clete Blakeman has been busy tonight, our referee.
After review of the play, the receiver maintained control of the ball over the pylon. By rule, it is a touchdown. The play
well, you mentioned it, Bob. It's a hat trick tonight. 3 touchdowns. Last week, he only had 3 catches. This week, 3 of his catches are touchdowns.
Well, and oh, by the way, Antonio Gates is not playing.
Yeah.
Antonio Gates now will have a good 10 days to try and recuperate, get himself ready for the next couple games, going to Cincinnati, going on to Denver for the Chargers.
Vincent Jackson with his 3rd touchdown catch tonight. He had the contract dispute, the suspension, then he suffered the calf injury when he first came back. Says, hey, people have to understand it's a business. My body is a business. Well, he has helped Phillip Rivers get the business done tonight with 3 touchdown catches. Gaslamp Quarter in San Diego, and yes, you are on TV here in San Diego. Hey, listen, Charger fans are having a little fun. 31-0, trying to win another division title. Need some help on their way to win number 8. Took advantage of all the San Francisco mistakes, and they've just turned on the Jets. 31-0 the score. Phillip Rivers 3 touchdowns. Tolbert has rushed for 1. Ginn on the return for San Francisco. Ginn out to the 28-yard line and brought down there. Well, 31-0, 11:59 to go in the ball game. Last team to win back-to-back shutouts by 30 or more points, the 1985 Chicago Bears. Remember, the Chargers won last Sunday 31-0 against Kansas City, and Ron Rivera, the defensive coordinator, one of those members of the 85 Bears.
Yeah, and I had the privilege of being beat up by him too.
And of course, Mike Singletary was the captain of that defense.
And he was another one that pounded on me.
So they all got their licks on it.
Seems like it, you're right.
On a 1st and 10. Ginn with the catch. Well, we talked about Alex Smith and, you know, his pro career. Drafted in 2007. Every year he's had a new offensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy, Norv Turner, Jim Hostler, Mike Martz, Jimmy Ray. Then Ray was fired. Mike Johnson. And he said, you know, I've never been able to become an expert at any system that I've been in. It's always starting over again. And the terminology and the different depths of route and everything else, and it's hard to get zeroed in on anything. As Morgan makes the catch and tackled at the 48-yard line. Joe, talk about how hard that is.
And it isn't just the system, it's the guys around you. You can't get comfortable with the people around you. You have to be as one with the coordinator when he calls the plays, so that when he calls a play, you know exactly what he wants you to do with the football or what he's thinking. So there's a cerebral part of this that he just hasn't had an opportunity to get a handle on.
Smith on a 1st and 10, going to air it out for Morgan, incomplete. You know, he said, I need to be an extension of the coordinator, but when the coordinator's always changing, it's hard to be an extension of that. You know, and I asked him, He said, yeah, with all these coordinators and the fact that your name is on these wins and losses as you look at Mike Johnson, the newest offensive coordinator, said, did you ever just want out of San Francisco? Just say, I need a fresh start somewhere else. And he said, no, not really. I want to see this through.
Yeah, and the other thing that he said is, I need to be an expert in this offense. He said every player who plays a position needs to be an expert in that position. And in order for him to be the expert, he needs to be an expert of this offense.
Again, to the 40-yard line, picks up 5.
There's only one other situation that I'm fairly familiar with that has this occurred with so many coordinators. That was Jason Campbell with the Washington Redskins over the last 5 years there. The same situation. You kept changing systems. You go from a vertical offense to a horizontal offense. The terminology was always changing, and now he's found a place in a home, I believe, in Oakland.
3rd and 5, sacked for the 5th time. Antoine Barnes gets him.
That was just pure speed against Sims. Sims gave him a soft set, and he just got to the edge right away. Watch Antoine Barnes right here. Number 98. See how he gets to the top side right away? He stopped his feet and then got to his edge, and it was over. Antoine Barnes, one of those young pass rushers that this Charger defense has, and not a particularly good dancer.
It'll take the sack dance. Why not? National TV. He just showed everybody that he can't dance, but he can sack the quarterback. Obviously down 31-0. They'll go for it on 4th and 11. Smith downfield, intercepted. Steve Gregory got some blockers to the 34 and brought down there. His 2nd pick of the season and a return of 42.
Boy, this ball had absolutely no chance of getting home.
But it's 4th down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You make the throw, you're going to do it. You try and squeeze it into a very small hole, but you finally try and get the ball to Vernon Davis. And who winds up in front of it? Steve Gregory with the first interception.
Phillip Rivers in North Turner. Yeah, come on, give him a little, coach. That's it. Yeah. They're en route to their 40th win under North Turner. As win number 8 is on the horizon. Billy Bullock in, and he hands off to Ryan Matthews, and Matthews takes it to the 20-yard line. Rivers 19 of 25, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns. And San Francisco, Mike Singletary, his team being shut out. Vernon Davis, no catches. Crabtree, been quiet. And Alex Smith, 12 of 20, 103 yards and an interception. And a lot of smiles for Phillip Rivers. Now he can just relax, put the baseball cap on, and watch Billy Bullock finish out this game.
Watch him hand the ball off to everybody.
How do more teams do this, by the way? When they're up to take the starting quarterback out. Ryan Matthews chased down by Ahmad Brooks. I know, Joe, you never wanted to come out of a game.
No, but you're right. As a quarterback and a starter, you work so hard to get moments like this. You don't get a lot of moments like this, truthfully. I mean, so far San Diego in back-to-back weeks have had the opportunity to do this with Phillip Rivers, who had an incredible night. But the other part of it is what you wind up doing is you have a chance to be able to hand off and be out there with your teammates with some camaraderie. That's what you're really looking for. But I think you're right, too. Why not put the backup guy in there? Give him an opportunity to be able to do something.
Well, some fool here in San Diego ran out on the field, and it took.
Well, the guys are getting a kick out of it. Look, they're all laughing. They're all laughing on the sideline. You saw Stephen Cooper getting a good laugh out of it, and Phillip Rivers getting a laugh out of it.
And then he go visit him in jail.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, you talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, Vincent Jackson opening possession, 58-yard touchdown catch, and he'd add 2 more.
They did a real nice job of throwing the ball to him. San Francisco didn't cover him very closely. They only picked their spots. I mean, every time the ball was thrown to him, it wound up being a completion, except for the one end zone one where he stepped on the end line. And Phillip Rivers managed to find a substitute for Antonio Gates. Now, when you think down the road, when they go to Cincinnati, you're going to have Patrick Creighton probably back. You're going to have Malcolm Floyd probably back. You're going to have Antonio Gates back. And then you've got Vincent Jackson. And A.J. Smith has got to be sitting up in the booth. We showed the picture of him before, thinking about, all right, what are we going to do with Vincent Jackson at the end of this season when he's a free agent?
We better get him signed. At least put the tag on him.
Vincent said it's one of 3 ways it's going to go. I'll get a new deal. I'll be tagged or I'll wind up somewhere else. Now remember, San Diego does not control their own destiny. They currently trail Kansas City by a game. They're 7-6, 2 road games left at Cincinnati and at Denver. And it's interesting because on Sunday, Kansas City plays in St. Louis. So the Chargers are going to be rooting for the Rams. And as the Niners sit home after this loss, they're going to be rooting for Kansas City. Because if Kansas City can knock off St. Louis, it still keeps San Francisco alive even with 9 losses. 3rd and 11. Matthews does not turn the corner. Nate Clements on the tackle. Take a look at the San Francisco 49ers and what they have left over the final 2 weeks of the season as Vincent Jackson enjoys his 112 yards receiving tonight. San Francisco on their way to their 9th loss. They have 2 division games left. So if they can finish in a tie with either St. Louis or Seattle at 7-9, if they win their last 2 games, they're going to win the division. And here's why. That would make them 5-1 in the NFC West, which will give them all the tiebreakers that they need. So if they can get a little help, and Seattle's got to play Atlanta this week, and the Falcons need the game up in Seattle to stay ahead of New Orleans. And if Kansas City can knock off St. Louis, I mean, they've got a shot to still win out and win the division. Kading with the field goal from 39, and he knocks it through to make it 34-0 in favor of San Diego. 7:38 remaining. Chargers on their way to their 8th win of the season. Back in San Diego, Nate Kading with that made field goal has moved into first place all-time in best field goal percentage for his career, 86.6%, surpassing Mike Vanderjagt. But the thing with Kading is his postseason failures and how much he has struggled in the postseason and has really hurt San Diego, including last year's playoff loss to the Jets. And that's a hurdle he won't find out about until they qualify for the playoffs this year and he gets in that same spot. Ginn on the return to the 30-yard line. Well, the Minnesota Vikings had to play on Monday in Detroit because on Sunday morning the Metrodome roof caved in. So they're going to the University of Minnesota, where volunteers in conjunction with the Vikings, the Bears, and the NFL have been sweeping the stands to try to get the stadium ready. In fact, our own Scott Hansen of NFL Network, who's there reporting, had the shovel out and was doing a little work.
I think it's $15 an hour. I don't know how long Scott was out there, but
come to Minnesota, BYOS.
Bring your own shovel.
You got it.
5 minutes Scott was out there. He was reporting. That game is on Monday night. Smith, Morgan runs out of a couple tackles, and Morgan down the sideline and turns a short pass into a big game, but there is a flag on the play. This officiating crew has been busy with replay challenges, player ejected.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Defense, number 99. A 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down, San Francisco.
It's on Kevin Burnett. That was quick even in slow motion.
All you need to do is get up in that area.
San Diego has gone 7 consecutive quarters where they have not allowed a touchdown, which ties a franchise record. So have not allowed any points. So that streak is in jeopardy.
Josh Morgan, who made that run, I was talking to Jerry Sullivan, the wide receiver coach of the 49ers, says he really likes it. He's a nice size, almost 220 pounds, 6 feet tall. That's a real solid guy, 15-yard average.
First and 10 from the 19. Smith, Delaney Walker. Dante Hughes drags him down.
And Joe, I think the other part of that equation is discipline. He's a very disciplined guy. He runs his routes right. The quarterbacks know where he's going to be. And really, without saying it, you get the feeling that that's not what Michael Crabtree is yet. And I think that's one of the things that he's going to have to work on, is the discipline part of it and understanding as a receiver what you have to put into it to become a great one.
Second and 5 from the 14. Finally, Vernon Davis tackled a yard short of the first down. Well, we're zeroing in on the postseason. What about the Pro Bowl voting? Michael Vick of the Philadelphia Eagles has moved ahead of Tom Brady. Peyton Manning's third. Adrian Peterson fourth. Phillip Rivers down at seventh. Might want to vote a little and move him up. You can go to NFL.com and cast your ballot.
And of course, Aaron Rodgers with that concussion, they've got a big game this weekend as well against New England.
What about Matt Castle and the year he's put up?
He's had a good year. What about Maurice Jones-Drew, the year he's had?
Yeah, I mean, Castle only has 4 interceptions, 5 turnovers, 23 touchdown passes. Anthony Dixon on the carry has a first down for San Francisco with 5:40 to go. And, you know, Phillip Rivers, 3 touchdowns tonight. And Phillip on the season now, 29 touchdown passes and 11 interceptions.
And we were talking about the Pro Bowl balloting. You see, the quarterbacks post the numbers, and I think people see numbers. But you mentioned Maurice Jones-Drew and the job that he's done. Matt Castle, I mean, to me, has done a terrific job with Todd Haley and Charlie Weiss there in Kansas City. And you saw what it looked like last week without him when they played the Chargers.
That was abysmal.
First and goal. Morgan stood up at the 5 by Kason for a gain of 4. So, you know, you start thinking about the MVP balloting, and I guess defensive guys, Matt, are never going to get considered.
I don't even
think about the way
it.
Clay Matthews has played this year for
he's had a
Green
great
Bay,
year.
and the
I
kind
don't
of year
even
that
think
he's had.
about it.
Really?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
Matt?
Brady's hard to get past, but Michael Vick is pretty darn good.
I think, well, you say Brady.
I would take Michael Vick. Although, I'll tell you, you're not going to go wrong with either one of those guys.
Still have 3 more games to be played for those 2 teams as well. Brian Westbrook gets the touchdown for San Francisco. And it gets him on the board. His second rushing touchdown of the season. We had a chance to visit with Brian, who thought, you know, his career potentially could be over with ankle injuries and knee injuries and a concussion last year. Good to see him back and being productive in the NFL with San Francisco after not being used much earlier in the year.
And one of the things also he talked about is Mike Singletary wanted him to come in here and be a leader right away. But until you do something, it's very hard to become a leader. The last 3 weeks, he's played a lot of football for him, did a real nice job, and now he's more asserting himself more.
Jeff Reed for the extra point.
You know, it's
4:26 to go, and that makes it 34-7.
With Brian Westbrook, you know, you can boil everything down, and he just said, listen, it's good to finally be healthy. When I'm healthy, I can do a lot of things. And you can see where he stands. Look at some of these. Marshall Faulk will be a Hall of Famer. Lenny Moore is. James Brooks, that was a tough sucker. John David, now there's a great name out of the pass.
Frank Gifford, also a Hall of Famer. I mean, 30 rushing touchdowns, 30 catches, and there's Marshall, part of our pregame crew and postgame, getting ready for the Sprint postgame show.
Marshall Faulk is one of the smartest players, a lot like this man right here. In fact, our producer, Ed Fabershoff, raves about the play he made against the New York Giants at the end of a game. To keep the clock moving, not taking the score, he just stopped. And that's a heady player. And that's the same way Marshall Faulk was, the exact same thing.
Matt, you ask, you shall receive.
This is
Brian Westbrook,
there he is.
Just all the great things that he did with the Philadelphia Eagles in that dual threat as a runner and as a pass receiver. And against the Cowboys, he went down at the 1 and just went down for that 10-6 win, run out the clock in 07. And when we mentioned that to Brian yesterday, he said, you know, nowadays, that was in 2007. But with the way fantasy football is
fantasy
now,
guys,
a lot of people
they'd
mad
be mad at him,
including some teammates.
They would be mad at him.
Well, what you'll never be mad at with him ever is his great awareness of the game.
Maurice Jones-Drew did that last year against the Jets late in the season. And went down and turned down a touchdown.
Joe, you mentioned that Jacksonville Indianapolis game.
Right.
That's going to be a humdinger.
I think that's the game of the week. That's the game of the weekend. Absolutely.
Jacksonville believes they can pound the ball against the Colts. And they believe it in their heart.
Sproles back to the kickoff from Reed. Tripped up at the 15-yard line. Well, there are a lot of huge games. Of course, we've talked about the Battle of Missouri, Kansas City, and San Francisco, New Orleans, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Indy, the Giants and Eagles, first place in the NFC East at stake, and really the ability to control a playoff spot. The Jets kind of in a free fall right now.
Green Bay possibly without Aaron Rodgers because of the concussion.
That'd be tough.
And if it's snowing in New England, I mean, it's almost a guaranteed 40. The way they handle the weather.
There's one right up at the top here. Keep your eyes on the New Orleans Saints. Everybody is not talking about them. They're the defending Super Bowl champion, and they are starting to play good defense, and you know what Breeze can do.
You know, it's funny because last year they got off to such a great start, 13-0, and they were scoring all kinds of points. This year, you know, they had some problems with their run defense, and the way the season started with some of the injuries, it was kind of an up and down year for New Orleans, but they have stabilized things and they are playing good football right now.
And they're healthy, and they're playing healthy, and they're making big plays, and just keep your eyes on, because that's a very good football team.
You start to get key people back.
Bingo.
That's the biggest thing at the end of the year.
And they could be on the road with like 11 or 12 wins playing the NFC West champion, who could be under 500, as Matthews takes it out to the 20-yard line.
Something about Ryan Matthews is to me, and it makes him an extraordinary young man. He basically, with his mom, lived in the back of a car when they were young growing up. Very, very difficult. And when he was in the 8th grade, he happened to be watching television. They happened to see a thing on the NFL, and he stumbled on a piece on LT, LaDainian Tomlinson. And he was looking for somebody who was a good citizen, an athletic individual, and an accountable individual, and really became a role model for him. And out of respect, he wore his number through school. He wore the tinted mask, the tinted visor, everything. He wanted to be like LT. Then all of a sudden he comes here to the Chargers, and out of respect for LT, he never asked him. He didn't want the number 21, even though it meant so much to him. He didn't want to assume he was LT. I think it's just a wonderful story about a young man who found a real terrific role model in this game.
Sproles on the carry on the 3rd and 5, and I'm sure LaDainian Tomlinson would be mad at his equipment buddies here at San Diego if they would have given out his 21.
They wouldn't have given. I think he would have asked permission. He was going to ask permission, but then he said he didn't want to because he respected him so much.
San Francisco calls another timeout with 3:26. So, guys, what do you think of San Diego here? And, you know, the fact that they're on their way to their 8th win, obviously they still need help. Just winning out is not going to get it done, because if Kansas City wins out, the Chiefs are going to finish a game ahead of the San Diego Chargers. But, Matt, do you think this team could be extremely dangerous if they do get into the playoffs?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it.
Even with the special teams problems.
Well, I mean, those are things, obviously, anytime a special teams thing can come up and bite any football team. Now, they have not shown consistency, and that's what you're talking about. They're going to have to get that straight. But on balance, offensively and defensively, they have talent, they have skilled people, they have big play ability. That one almost looked like it was going to be blocked right there.
Well, they almost had one blocked earlier tonight. Cyphers was able to get it away.
Well, the other thing we were talking about before too was you say the New Orleans Saints, they're getting, Bob, you mentioned they're getting healthy. They're playing well at the end of the year. With 10 days now, the San Diego Chargers almost get a mini bye to start getting a lot of people back at the wide receiver position. And we've seen what Phillip Rivers can do with guys that have just been run in and out for him. Now you start getting your regulars back on the field, and it makes a world of difference.
The other thing you also get is because you've played these others, they have great experience, and now your quarterback has a feel for guys that normally he wouldn't have had. Take a guy like Randy McMichael. I mean, that.
Now you got depth.
Yeah, you have him.
But remember, they're going to need some help to get into the postseason, because they do trail Kansas City by a game, but 2 road games that you look at for the Chargers that are obviously doable, as Westbrook picks up 6 on the pass play with the games on the road at Cincinnati and at Denver.
And you wonder if with the San Diego Chargers having the ability to throw the ball as well as they do, what's weather going to be a factor like in Cincinnati? What's weather going to be a factor like in Denver? Both of those teams are capable of jumping up and playing well against you. So the Chargers can't look at them and say, oh no, two teams really struggling. Not going to happen.
Second and 4 for Smith and the Niners with 3:13 to go. Just trying to build upon something positive here. Delaney Walker gets a first down as we check in with Alex Flanagan.
Hey, you guys, Mike Singletary at the half was hoping that somebody on defense could really step up in absence of Justin Smith after he was ejected from this game. Just to go back on what happened with that, after he was ejected, Smith went to the bench and told his teammates that he felt somebody shove him in the back. He turned around, shoved back, and then realized it was an official. Did not mean to, but Bob, intent really doesn't matter on that one.
No, Alex, you cannot shove an official. And you know, there's such a defining point in the ballgame because they had just gotten stopped on a 4th and goal, and you see he shoves the umpire, Garth DeFelice, and Garth looks at the number, throws the flag, and that's it.
And he's staring him down too.
I love Garth.
And one of the other things we talked about with Mike Singletary is Mike's job in jeopardy. There's been so much change in San Francisco. We've talked about the coordinators. I think it's time to stay with someone. It's a very young, very immature football team in some areas, but talented. But it takes time to grow into it. And I think Mike deserves the chance.
Crabtree with a short pickup. So you think, though, he's the guy with this staff to get things turned around? They thought they had that guy in Mike Nolan. That didn't work out. Mike Singletary was on the staff. Mike Nolan got fired in 2008, led him to a 5-4 record at Singletary. But do you think he has what it takes or is needed to get this thing turned in the right direction?
I think he's still learning this team. I think they're still figuring things out. And keep in mind, this is not the end of the 40. They could win this division still.
Right.
They could win this division, get into the playoffs. If they play their front seven. Now, tonight it fell apart early. They are capable with the skills that they have to do something.
But it also fell apart because of their own inability to make plays, not getting in the end zone, dropping balls, committing foolish penalties.
Again, if they win out and St. Louis and Seattle each lose one each, and their 7-9 is the best record, San Francisco's getting in by virtue of a 5-1 division record. Smith will be sacked again. Jacques Cesaire. Oh, Cam Thomas, the rookie out of North Carolina, the 5th round pick, gets the sack at a loss of 10. So the rookie gets his 2nd sack of the season. That punctuates the night for the San Francisco offense as we hit the 2-minute warning.
Means for the Chargers playoff race hopes.
Well, Rich, keeps them right in the conversation with Phillip Rivers at quarterback, 19 of 25, 273 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Billy Bullock will just take a knee with the 2-minute warning upon us, and now the clock ticking.
You know, I tell you, I'm sitting here, and in my mind, I'm listening. The party's over. I'm listening to Don Meredith.
Turn out the lights.
Sing it. I mean, it's something. Look at 25 points per game, 6 straight seasons.
The Rams from 48-54 did it, and the Browns from 1950 to 1955. And how about Ron Rivera's defense?
Terrific. Ron Rivera, to me, is one of those coaches that has done an outstanding job working with different personnel, getting the right people he wants, and should be one of those guys, as you look around the league at coordinators that deserve an opportunity to be talked about as a head coach in this league. I think he's right up there with the guys that you put on the list.
And what a nice game Antonio Garay had tonight, and he's had a great season.
How long did it take him to do that to his head, though?
I remember yesterday we saw him, and it was a
would
little
look like
skewed.
that.
I told him to put a little bit of red in it, and we could say he was a raspberry Garay.
Oh, no. You didn't say.
He was
you
a
didn't do that.
raspberry Garay.
No, stop. Stop. I've got 40 seconds more to listen. Is that what I have to do?
That's the only part I remember the song. I know it was Prince. That's about it.
And Vincent Jackson coming in with a big ball game, filling in with Antonio Gates on the sidelines.
Big touchdowns for Jackson, 5 receptions, 112 yards, and Phillip Rivers with a smile and another victory. So the San Diego Chargers get their 8th win. Now the burden falls on Kansas City this weekend in St. Louis against the Rams to keep their lead in the AFC West. For Mike Singletary, the 9th loss for the Niners, but they're not done, folks. With a little help, they could still win the NFC West. Stephen Cooper with a good game. Brian Westbrook, the only touchdown tonight for the San Francisco 49ers. Well, the fireworks are off. Stay with NFL Network. We'll take you down to the field for the Kay Jewelers post-game show. We'll have the stars of the game live, including Phillip Rivers, as well as highlights and analysis on tonight's game. Our final score, the Chargers beat the San Francisco 49ers 34-7.